Good morning and happy Friday, Top Fan Rivalry listeners. I am Jackson. I'm here with Bill, and we're coming at you live. I mean, not live, live, um,
Ish.
live-ish, as live as we can get it on the Bleacher Bros Sports Radio Network and on here in the locker room on TopFanRivalry.com. We are doing the weekly review. Once again, it's that time of week, Bill.
It is. It is. And you know what the best part about this is, Jackson? This is the last weekly review we have without any baseball something somethings. Because
Yeah,
the pitchers and catchers report in a couple of days.
yep. Next week they report, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more to talk about, with guys reporting the camp and hearing about the health of guys who've been injured, guys looking to build on good seasons last year. Pitchers and catchers reporting is just it's the start. Baseball season starts this next week,
Mhm.
um, and it's great. I'm excited.
I am too. I'm actually very much excited about the yes, I'm very much excited about it. So sign me up, sign me up, sign me up, right? Let's get going. Let's talk baseball because baseball's back. Yes, it's back. I'm so excited. Why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, I believe last week we let off with a new segment. We're gonna do it again this week.
Let's
Uh,
do it.
the name escapes me at the moment, but I remember what it is. We're
Well,
gonna
it is the where is segment, and it was supposed to be where is Alonso, where is Alex
Bregman.
Bregman. Now, Alonso has inked up. Bregman has not. Alonso
Yeah.
inked up for 2 years, 24 meal tickets. Jackson, what do you think about the 24 meal tickets for 2 years with Alonso?
You mean 54?
Or 54, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, wow, two years, 24, bargain. Yeah, 2 years, 54. Overplayed his hand. We talked about it. It it's a joke. It has an opt out after 2025. If he has a decent season, he's going to take it and try again. Scott Boras fumbles another one. For every Juan Soto he has one of these guys.
Mhm. Here's my problem with this contract, right? Every at bat you're pushing Pete Alonso, right? It's a high stress at bat because he knows that he's got an opt out option, right? So he wants to hit 35 home runs. He wants to hit 270. He wants to hit, get a 100 RBIs, whatever it might be. You just don't, you're not getting the one, I'm sorry, you're not getting the Pete Alonso that's comfortable at the plate, that can do things at the plate. You're forcing him to be something maybe or maybe he is not, right?
Yeah, I mean he'll have Juan Soto hitting ahead of him. I don't know. The Mets lineup's going to be interesting on how they put it together next year. Whether they do Lindor second, Soto third, Alonso fourth, or they hit Lindor lead off and then Soto second and then Alonso third. I have no idea, but
Mhm.
I think it made sense for the Mets, but it also made sense for the Mets to just kind of leave it. They're at that point, but they brought the fan favorite back. I, I don't like the 2 year deal with the second year being a player option because it almost always bites the team in the butt. How many times have we seen the guy,
Mhm.
post the worst season of his career and they go, "Yes, I will take the 27 to 35 million dollars that are on the
Mhm.
table. Thank you." And then he's just
Yeah.
kind of meh.
And then just keep walking.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. No, it to me it's pretty disgusting. It I don't like this. I don't like this contract, although again, it puts a lot of pressure on what I'm going to call the key free agents. Juan Soto dropped in December. Um, Now Pete Alonso finally drops. Alex Bregman, I don't know why he's a key free agent. There's a lot of good guys out there that still are unsigned. Um, Bregman to me is still average. I know everybody in Houston absolutely loves this guy, but Bregman to me is very, very average.
Well, what's ridiculous to me is reportedly, we don't do a lot of rumors around here, but for this segment, I will indulge you in a rumor. According to MLB trade rumors, which is usually pretty reputable with what they got. They got the sources. He has a 6 year offer from clubs other than the Astros. And I'm sitting here going, why aren't you taking that?
Again, I don't know what Breckman, or I mean, I don't know what Boris is saying behind the scenes, but there's something going on.
Yeah,
Something's
but
right.
yeah, I guess the other big news on him is Dana Brown, who's the is he the general manager, the president of baseball operations for the Astros? I think he's the general manager now.
General
Uh,
manager.
Spoke about having Alex Bregman in the past tense during uh, a media luncheon. So it kind of sounds like the Astros have stopped pursuing Alex Bregman and will look to fill his spot via other avenues. So,
Hmm.
but if he had a 6-year deal somewhere, take it, man.
I know. If you're Alex Bregman, you take that deal and you run with it the best that you can. But again, I
It,
don't.
it's it's not the 200 million he's looking for, but I guarantee you it's right around $100 million. 6 years, 100 million. Sign me up.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I agree. So, all right, Jackson, what do you got for number one?
My number one is, there's a team that's been having a really good offseason, in my opinion. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ooh,
And they re-signed Randall Grichuk to a 1-year, $5 million contract. I'm going to tell you why I like this, Bill. Randall Grichuk last year, as a whole, uh, hit 291, the 875 OPS, 12 home runs, 40 RBIs. He was mostly a platoon guy, but against left-handed pitching, which is his platoon bread and butter. He had 84 plate appearances, 52 hits, uh, 6 home runs, 32 RBIs, walked 16 times, only struck out 28 times, 914 OPS. It's a really good platoon outfielder. Grichuk's a nice veteran platoon bat to have. You're going to see a lot of lefties. The Dodgers notably have a lot of left-handers in their rotation. Uh, the Giants have some lefties in their rotation. So I really like this signing for Arizona. Just in the scope of the National League, there's a lot of tough left-handed pitching, and Grichuk's going to help with that. And these are the types of signings that put you over the edge. I'm not saying this wins Arizona the World Series or anything, but it's going to give them the edge in a playoff series because I think they're going to make the playoffs with the team they have. They have a really good team.
do you think they're going to win the West, or do you think they're going to make playoffs?
I won't outright say they'll win the West. I think they're going to give the Dodgers a better run than most people expect.
Oh, I agree with that. I just don't think they're going to win the West.
It there's a lot of factors in that. If Arizona can stay healthy and the Dodgers get a little snake bitten like they have been the last couple of years, it's certainly on the table. But if you just look at it on paper, you can't. I don't think so.
Yeah, stuff. Good stuff. My number one, Jackson, may surprise you. So I've been going through some stuff and I've been looking at schedules. And I know that there used to be a couple that did the schedules for the MLB for like 20 years. And I know that they've replaced that couple and now they're doing it differently. I absolutely disdain the schedule this year for a lot of teams. And I'm just going to use the Dodgers as an example because you just mentioned the Dodgers. The Dodgers start in Tokyo on the 18th and 19th of March. Then they come home. So they play the 15th, 2 games in Tokyo, like split squad games in Tokyo. Then they have 2 days off, 16th and 17th. Then they play the 18th and 19th. Then they have the 20th, 21st, and 22nd off to acclimate to back to the US. Then they play the Angels for 3 games that don't matter. Those are the freeway series, it doesn't matter. Then they go into playing the Detroit Tigers for 3 games. So you have 2 games that matter, 3 days off, 3 more games that don't matter, 1 game off, and then you start your season at home. And just in case you're curious, Jackson, who is the Dodgers' main rival?
Good. Like
Giants.
overall, yeah. I was gonna say the Giants, like in the National League, like competition wise,
Yep.
the
First
Giants,
time
yeah,
the Dodgers play the Giants is June 13th, 14th, and 15th.
ridiculous.
Okay. If you're looking for even it to get even worse, the Dodgers are in New York the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of May. Then they go from there to Cleveland the 26th, 27th, 28th, have a day off, come home, play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series against the Yankees at home, then play a Monday through Thursday series with the Mets. So, by the way, all of your Mets games are done in one week. The Dodgers then proceed to play inside of an 8 game span, 8 day span, they play 7 games inside of, I'm sorry, inside of a 10 game span, they play 7 games with the Padres in June. Thus, basically, if you're playing them 13 times, more than half of it gets played inside of 10 days. I don't get it, Jackson. I don't like the schedules.
I don't either.
No.
And I have a lot to say about this, so I'm glad you brought it up. I hate the new scheduling format. I hate that every team plays each other at least one series a year. I hate the
Mhm.
fact that they reduce the number of in league games and the in division games. If you're gonna have divisions, you need to make the division games matter. And I know people moaning and playing that the Centrals are always weak. There's always a playoff team that comes out of it. But with the advantage to the reduced schedule and the not balanced schedule is you played more games within your league too. You got instead of playing 6 games, I think you played 12 games against everyone else or something like that.
Mhm.
It was something like that. They introduced interleague and it got reduced, but you played more games within your league too, which I think matters more, especially now with the extra wild card. I think the MLB should focus, more on making the games within your league matter more. I know it's the trap, to fall through. You want Shohei Ohtani coming to New York every year to play the Yankees, and stuff like that. They want to market the stars in all the markets. But look, the baseball man in me says we should reduce interleague just to, those 2 weeks that it used to be.
I agree.
It
I
makes the world
agree.
it makes the World Series far more interesting. It makes the
So
playoffs far more interesting because these teams have seen each other a number of times and it becomes more of a chess match rather than, oh, we played these guys 6 times in April and now we're playing them in October. It's,
right.
oh no, we played these guys in 3 separate series throughout the season, and it's been hotly contested. It's got some bad blood. It sets the tone.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll go down the road to the Angels. I just looked up the Angels schedule as you were saying that. The Angels have that Dodger series in March 23rd, 24th, 25th. Then they have the 26th off. They fly to Chicago to play the White Sox on the 27th on their opener. So they don't have to fly across the world, just the Dodgers and Cubs. They play the Cubs, I'm sorry, they play the White Sox on the 27th, then have the 28th off. And then they play the 29th and 30th. Then it gets even better. Then they go down to St. Louis. They play St. Louis 31st, 1st, and 2nd. Then they have the third off, a Thursday. Fly home, play 3 games at home, have that Monday off, and then go back on the road again. I
It, it,
I, I don't get and the best part about this, the best part, yeah. Anyways, they have every Monday off in April. They have one Thursday off in April, and then they had that one game, take a day off, another game. How do you
it,
get geared up to start excited?
it, look, and another thing they need to bring back the scheduled doubleheader.
Hmm.
Allow for more off days. I think one thing, we've gone through this balanced schedule and having to play everywhere is like you almost think of them as machines. You want to know why some of these guys get ground down over the course of the season. And I know it's a marathon and it's the appeal of baseball that it's this marathon, not a sprint. But the league needs to be able to, especially early in the season, plan these double headers because we've seen a lot of rain the last couple of years, and it really it throws a wrench in things. That Braves Mets series at the end of the season last year, inexcusable that Major League Baseball let that happen.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
all because their scheduling of this quote unquote balanced schedule has sent teams are zigzagging all over the place.
Hmm. Yeah. No,
Rather rather than just having to worry about the one, West Coast road trip if they're East Coast team, or if you're a West Coast team, worry about the one East Coast, heavy East Coast road trip. Just play them within your league. You play your division a lot more. You stay on your coast. You stay in your area a lot more.
works for me. Works for me, Jackson. All right, what you got for number two?
Number two, speaking about on those San Diego Padres, they made a move. They got an agreement with Michael King for a 1 year deal for this season, a mutual option for 2026. This is an interesting thing. The Padres reportedly have been shopping Michael King. This
Mhm.
mutual option. I think the last time a mutual option was activated was like 2011 or something like that. So to me, this signals that the Padres might still be active in this trade market, getting this Michael King deal done. And it perhaps provides Michael King with some leverage to where he wants to go. Interestingly enough, with that mutual option. But with the pitching market as thin as it is, I think the Padres kind of hold some nice cards here between Dylan Cease and Michael King. You can trade one of them to get some good prospects back. And San Diego has a really good farm system right now. They still have a really solid team. And look, it everyone talking about how they're blowing it up. If San Diego plays their cards right, they can extend their window another 3 4 years right here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
these are the kind of deals, extending Michael King and then possibly moving him when his values it's never been higher. We don't know if Michael King's going to be the Michael King we saw in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
If I was the Padres, I'd pull the trigger on this trade easy if it got me good pieces that could help the ball club either this season or the next.
100%. 100%. Michael King is an interesting person to me. I think he's got a lot of future. He's got a lot of upside. San Diego doesn't get its publicity right now because they haven't been what everybody thought they were going to be. So he's not getting the same publicity, but I like him. I think he's pretty dominant, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
So
I think the most appealing thing since he is a reliever turned starter is he doesn't have a ton of mileage on his arm.
mm,
So I mean, the injury risk. I mean, it's not like it changes if you have less innings. The human arm isn't meant to throw the way we throw baseballs, but it's certainly it's good because he won't maybe experience that fatigue or a minor injury setback that will put him back. But it's like you said, he's a really good player, but he is almost 30. So if I was the Padres, time to cash in is now.
yeah.
So I guess my number two is, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. I guess.
Jimmy Rogers would be very happy with you, sir. You got
Yes.
to know when to hold them and when to hold them. So,
Yep.
yes, 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 yes. All right. My number two is going to actually surprise you a bit. Um, Let me tell you a team that I think is very possibly going to sneak into the playoffs if their pitching rotation holds up. Okay. If their pitching rotation holds up injury free, they play in a very difficult division and they are going to make it to the playoffs. That is the depth chart of Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Lucas Giolito, Braden Bello, Walker Buehler, and Cutter Crawford in the Boston Red Sox. Uh, Honestly, Jackson, you and I have talked about this. You and I have talked about how this is a thing where you legit can do you legit are in a position where you can how do I say this? You need 50 wins from your starters, and legit, I can see 50 wins coming out of these starters. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Red Sox are in a unique position, much like the Padres, where they have talent they can move because they have
Hmm.
talent that is close to being ready. The Red Sox have, I think it's like four top prospects that are like close to being major league ready. I heard that they were shopping, all-star first baseman Tristan Casas
Hmm.
at some point this past offseason, which is, it's wild. A guy that hit over 30 home runs, uh, is in trade talks. A guy that young, he's only 25. They have a really nice young team, and I think they're a veteran bat or two away from being a really scary team in that American League East. They obviously have Jaron Duran, Rafael Devers are like the big guys that have been there for a couple of years. They just really need one more veteran to kind of hold it together. But they have nice prospects. They have the number two prospect in baseball and Roman Anthony, who's one of the highest rated power prospects we've seen in the last couple of years. He's only 20. Marcelo Myers has been a highly touted middle infield prospect. He might play second base for them on opening day. I agree with you. This Red Sox team has a lot of good starting pitching, and you'll probably see some of it leak into the bullpen, which has been suspect for them in the past couple of years. But I think the Red Sox are probably right up there with the Yankees for that AL East right now. I don't
Yeah,
think Baltimore did enough this offseason to be right neck and neck with New York. I think it's Boston, New York's division to lose.
yeah. 100. Well, Jackson, as we've gotten through the first two, let's take a break real quick and pause to give much love to our sponsors, Ruby's in Laguna Beach. If you are Ruby's Diner, if you are going to be in Laguna Beach this summer, you need to check out Ruby's Diner. Go up and check out that rooftop. Say hi to Ned. Let him know that you heard us on Top Fan Rivalry. He'll take good care of you over there. They do a great job. Actually, Jackson, they got a really good Cobb salad. I was over there last time and I had a freaking Cobb salad. And it was amazing.
Oh yeah, Cobb salad's great. The burgers are always good. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. The burgers are always good.
look, look, guys,
Co-
you like diner food? It's the place.
Cobb salad. Absolutely. Give a shout out to our friends over at the pizza store by OC Local in Laguna Hills, not too far from there. Again, great sandwiches, great pizza. And then again, you need something built. Give our friends a call over at Gravity Red Productions. Give Darren a call over there and say, "Hey, Darren, I heard about you guys on Top Fan Rivalry. Thanks for sponsoring these guys. Top Fan Rivalry doesn't exist without these sponsors, and you make it happen." So, much shout out to these guys. They do a great job. Thank you. We have two more that we're going to be announcing a graphic apparel place here pretty quick. Will be announced on the show next week, as well as another eatery, which I think you're going to find very interesting, Jackson. It will be kind of fun. So, that being said, what do you got for number three?
My number three is the Tigers go out and get another starting pitcher. They must have heard my rant from last week. Uh,
Yes, I did.
they brought back Jack Flaherty, and uh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. Flaherty was good for them last year. Uh, he did not look. He did not pass the eye test, I should say.
Hmm.
Late in the season in the playoffs, he kind of looked like he was out of gas. His shoulder or arm was hurting bad. The 2 years, 35 million is it's a little scary if you're Detroit with those injury concerns. I know their payroll's low, but it's another one of those opt out deals. But hopefully it pays off for him. Because
Yeah.
if Flaherty does what he does and gets 160 innings, you won't see me complain. I talked about it last week. You got to go out and get 160 innings from your starting pitchers.
Yeah. So Jack coming back, the only thing I would say differently, Jackson, than that, I agree with you, is he spent half a season in Dodger blue. He earned a ring, and he learned really quickly what it's like to play full board, to play for that ring, if that makes any sense, right? So I actually very much like this a lot.
Yeah, I mean their rotation still has holes, but this definitely fills one of them if he can stay healthy.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, this is this is a good call. Um, this is a good call. I like it. I like Detroit having him back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I uh, they need somebody. Jack getting that experience this year, that helps. They need somebody. They need somebody to back up Skubal. If they don't back up Skubal, the Tigers are going to end up losing 105 games this season.
Well, yeah, it's going to be like last year. Skubal goes out, throws a gem. Maybe his offense gives him some runs, but it's really deflating if you don't have guys to back up your ace because he goes out there and pitches his heart out. If he can't stop the losing streak, nobody will. You
Mhm.
need multiple guys in there that can stop it.
100%. 100%. Okay, Jackson, I'm going to do a little bit of a test on you. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Name this club. I'm gonna list you off a series of starters, starting pitching. Name the club. Jonathan Cannon, Davis Martin, Martin Perez, Sean Burke, Drew Thorpe, Bryce Wilson. You know that team?
Let's see if they have Drew Thorpe. I think it's the Chicago White Sox, is it not?
It is. That's the only one that you recognize. I mean, I'm going
Yeah.
through their depth chart. And
Well,
I'm
I
looking at
recognize some of the other names, but I had no idea whose team they were on.
yeah, exactly. And so the Chicago White Sox have no place to go but up. What is a little sad to me after winning 51 games last season, or what, I'm sorry, 41 games last season. After winning 41 games last season, you would think that they would look at this and say, oh, gee, we lost 121 games last year. Let's toss some cash into this. Let's build. They got rid of Garrett Crochet. They got rid of Dylan Cease. So these guys could win an extra 20 games this year and still lose 100 games. They can win an extra 20 games this season and go 61 and 101. Which is sad to me. So if you're in White Sox Nation, my only question for you is what identity do we have? Like what are we looking for as far as identity is concerned? What say you, Jackson?
I think they're looking for a new owner. That's what identity they want. One that doesn't threaten to leave Chicago.
Yeah,
And, and one that's going to put a good product on the field. It's one thing to have a bad team, but it's another thing to be this bad. You see other teams that are in rebuilds. They'll go out and they'll sign guys. They'll kick the tires on some veteran players, shell out a little bit of money here and there because they cut payroll. So they go, well, we can spend a little money, see if this guy's got any value. That the White Sox last year didn't do that. It seemed like they were trying to be their very worst, and they succeeded.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think we'll ever see a team that was that bad
yeah.
ever again.
Well, let's hope not. I mean, that's pretty embarrassing here. And you got to feel bad for a guy like Miguel Vargas who gets traded mid-season from the Dodgers to the White Sox. So
Yeah,
you got to feel bad for him. So,
yeah, absolutely.
all right. All right. We're about a half hour into the show. So let's go number four, Jackson. What you got for
Uh, the Twins, who I was planning to put on blast this week for not making any signings, made two signings this week. So they went out and they got Harrison Bader, the platoon in the outfield. Uh, I mean, Bader's not the best hitter anymore, but he's got some value as a defensive outfielder, right-handed hitter, has shown flashes of pop. And I think a more interesting piece for the Twins can be Danny Columbe, who, uh, former Twin coming back. Uh, he was really good despite being injured for Baltimore last year. In 29 2/3 innings, he put up a 2.12 ERA. The year before that, in 61 appearances, he had a 2.81 ERA. So he had a really good tenure out in Baltimore. And he's a really good lefty specialist. He's a guy that'll go out, he'll just get lefties out. I think those are two nice moves by Minnesota, who is suffering due to that whole TV contract debacle we have talked about. It seems like endlessly on here, but it's nice of them to go out there and pick up a couple of guys that I think can contribute to the team because we say it every week. AL Central is wide open. Whoever wants to take it.
take it, take it and run. Take it and run. So, yeah. So, Jackson, you bring up a good point, and that AL Central is pretty unique, right? I'm looking at last year, it was won by 92 games, but the next place team, 86 wins, 86 wins, 82 wins, 41 wins, right? So again, you have a league or a division that you can win probably this year with 88, 89 wins. Who
Yeah,
knows? So, whereas if you win 89 games in the National League East, you're in maybe
third
third
place.
place, right? In
Yeah,
the National League West, you're in third place.
I think it'll help that the White Sox shouldn't be quite as bad as they were this last year.
Mhm.
So I think the 92 was a little bit of an abnormality because the White Sox are basically you're going to win 80% of the games against them guaranteed, guaranteed. So
Yeah. Oh, hey, the White Sox were only 51 and a half games out of first place. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing big. 40,
only like the most losses all time. No big deal.
yeah, 45 games. back from the wild card. Um, Jackson, you're going to love my number four, and this is going to spark a debate because you and I have had these conversations before. This is going to spark a debate. So my number four has to do with expectations, right? So if you are a team, we won't pick on the White Sox for this, but if you are a team like the A's, like the Marlins, even to a certain extent, well, even to a certain extent, the Giants, who haven't been awesome for the last couple of seasons, you don't have that major expectation on you. So if I'm the manager, I tell everybody, okay, we may not have guys out there like the Dodgers where you're going to have four or five guys that are going to hit 50 home runs type thing. Let's go out and have some fun and let's play the game the way that it was meant to be played. Get them on, get them over, get them in. You see a guy shift on you, you bunt it past the pitcher down the third baseline, and guess what? You're on. We run a little bit more, those type of scenarios. And I think you're going to see teams, if they played that way that didn't have expectations, win a lot more ball games than you think, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. A team that comes to mind is the Cleveland Guardians every year. You know, we think this is the year they're finally going to regress, and no, they run out there eight. What they call lovingly slap hitting gremlins. They throw them out there with Jose Ramirez, and it does work. They
Yeah,
get them on, get them over, get them in. And
yeah,
when you have a solid pitching staff, that's all you need to do. Don't try to be a team you're not. You know.
yeah, yeah, 100%. 100%. And see, that to me, that's your target demographic, right? If you're Miami, you're in a division that has what I'm going to ultimately call three powerhouses between Philadelphia, Atlanta, and New York, right? But if I'm Miami and I start to do things like that, just kind of play a little small ball here and there, right? Kind of do some things that may or may not totally make sense or just kind of old school things. So you end up having a situation where on the 30th of March, you start a three-game series with the Mets, then you have a day off, then three-game series against the Braves, and then another three-game series with the Mets. You've got 9 games there. Maybe instead of going 2-7, maybe you squeak out 2 wins and you go 4-5. I'm not saying you're gonna unleash the beast, but what happens if you go 4-5 and you still 2 games? That becomes a big deal, doesn't it?
It does.
See? Jackson, I'm not just a pretty face. There's a few things that I know as well, Jackson. But yeah, I love the idea of just playing the game the way that it was just meant to be played. Spend time, dig in, just kind of grit it out versus always looking for the 5-run home run.
Yeah, and I think that's something analytics misses. In
Hmm.
baseball, at least, you see other sports teams adapt when they don't have the guys necessary to execute certain game plans.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a big thing in football. Offenses and defenses change based on personnel. It's something you don't really see in baseball. Since like the mainstream introduction to analytics, everyone's trying to do the same thing because yeah, it gets results, but sometimes you got to think out of the box. If you're the Miami Marlins, do you play in like the biggest ballpark of all time? You
Yeah.
can't rely on just homering people to death.
Mhm.
I think that's what's ultimately stunted some of their positional player growth. And they have seen kind of a shift in philosophy. Their next good young positional player, Xavier Edwards, is a very good gap hitter
Mhm.
with a ton of speed, and I like it. Play to
Mhm.
your strengths. Play line to line. Get him on, steal second base. Get him over. All you got to do is hit a ground ball to the right side. Get him in. All you need is a fly ball now. Just put the ball in play. Keep the train moving.
Yep. Yep. By the way, Jackson, just to piggyback off my number one, I'm looking at the Marlins schedule here. The 9th, 10th, and 11th of May, they play the Chicago White Sox in Chicago. The 12th, 13th, 14th, they play the Cubs in Chicago. They have Thursday off. They play at home against the Rays and then at home against the Cubs. So all 6 games against the Cubs are handled within 7 days. There you go.
in May.
Done.
In May. Well,
Yeah.
you mentioned that stretch at the beginning of the season where they played, the
Uh-huh.
Mets, the Braves, and then the Mets. There's nine of their, they only have what, 52 divisional games. So
Yeah. There's 9
they're
of them
like,
right there.
yeah, there's
In the
20% of
first 2 weeks of the season.
yeah, 20% of them in the first 2 weeks of the season. So it it just feels weird. I miss having a ton of divisional games where it's like, oh shoot, this month we're playing 20 divisional games. Let's go.
Now, in their defense, they do play September 5th, 6th, 7th. They play at home against the Phillies. September 23rd, 24th, 25th, they go to Philadelphia. And 26th, 27th, 28th, they host the Mets. So they do have 9 games at the end of the season, but it's like it's log jammed, right? You've got
Yeah.
9 games here and 9 games here. So 52 of your out of your 52 games, 18 of them are at either the beginning or the end of the season.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's weird.
So welcome to, I guess, and September, Washington Nationals, 5, 6, 7, Philadelphia, 8, 9, 10, 11, Washington Nationals. So in 8 days, they play the Nationals
Half,
seven
half their game,
times.
half their games against the Nationals. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's silly.
Well, those are the you that are making yeah, anyways. We apologize that we're ripping on you, but hey, it's well deserved.
I
Okay,
think
so
I think it's made by an algorithm. Truth be told, at this point,
yeah, my wife thinks it's made by AI. She
but
really does. She thinks it's made by AI.
I think I think I heard it's some sort of software program that it figures it out all logistically, and then they can modify things.
Hmm.
So so to the person modifying, I don't like it when my team plays the same team 7 times in 10 days. It's not fun. It's not
There
a
you
good time.
go. There you go. Jackson, what you got for number 5?
Number five, kind of a late one that popped up yesterday on Thursday, but there is a new owner of the Padres approved by the MLB Owners Association. It is John Sadler, the brother of, or Seidler? Seidler. I'm not very good with the double vowel. It could be either one of those, but is the new owner of the Padres. So that kind of ends that ownership drama for San Diego.
Hmm.
And what it could mean is, you know, we don't have to hear about it anymore. And I think the Padres are going to stick with that middle of the pack payroll, like I said earlier, and just really take advantage of, you know, the pieces that they got because they have guys on their roster that can get them into the playoffs and get them into the World Series. The middle of their lineup ain't nothing to sneeze at still. So it's
Agreed. Agreed.
but again, I think I'm just going to reiterate. I don't think the Padres are the second best team in the National League West right now. I think that is firmly the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm not going to disagree with you there. I mean, the Diamondbacks are sneaky good. Now, nothing's been played yet, so we don't know, right?
Yeah,
But
that's why you play the games. Don't play on paper, right?
exactly, exactly. Um, my number 5, Jackson, is gonna, before we get into the honorable mentions, may have a little bit of surprise to you. Um, my number 5 is, and I've talked about this on other podcasts, and I really kind of honed in on it this week. I almost wrote about it, but I decided not to put it in writing. So, and that is teams that I thought regressed a little bit in the offseason as far as losing players and things like that. I know you and I have talked about this a little bit. I talked to Sam a little bit about this. I talked with Ashley about this. I think the Baltimore Orioles regressed. You lost Anthony Santander. You lost Corbin Burns, right? I think that's a big thing, especially in the division that you play. And I think, again, I think the Astros regressed a bit. They really haven't had, they made that trade for Kyle Tucker. They moved a bunch of potential prospects. Cam Smith is probably going to be a really good third baseman, but he's a year out. He will probably play in AAA this season. Um, and then if you flip the track a little bit on who, again, the Cardinals didn't. virtually nothing, right? They may have regressed. They lost Paul Goldschmidt. But if you flip the track on that, the teams that I think won, I think the Angels won. They added some depth to their pitching. They added some depth to their lineup. You don't know what Seattle's going to do. You have no idea what Texas is going to do. Who knows about the A's? I think they did well there. I think the Detroit Tigers getting Flaherty back is a good move, and I think what Toronto's done by getting Santander is good. So, I mean, you have teams that have obviously regressed. You have teams that have obviously, and Boston's done well. So, you know, where you look and how you look at it is, yeah. What are
Yeah,
your thoughts about maybe regression or
yeah.
wins?
I want to reiterate the praise for the Angels for their offseason. I think they've done everything you need to do when you are a rebuilding club, and it's add good veteran pieces. Do I think the Angels are going to set the world on fire and win 100 games? No. But do I think they can put up a fight in a potentially weakened AL West? I think so. I'm not saying they're going to, mow everyone down over there, but they're certainly going to be in it for a lot longer than you think they are. Um, a lot of it depends on the health of Mike Trout. Um, you want to talk about, if Mike Trout's healthy, I think the Angels are the team that got better the most over the offseason. A healthy Mike Trout makes your team so much better.
Mhm.
Because the dude can still hit when he's healthy. We saw it last year. He had like, in 30 games, he hit like 13 home runs.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I agree with that 100%. I think it's worth, and again, none of these games are played on paper. I could be completely wrong. The Angels could end up losing 100 games this season, and the
For the first
Astros
time
could end
ever.
up winning 105,
Yeah.
right? Who knows? But I'm saying, in my opinion, just looking at it, what they did, I like it. And I really do like the Travis d'Arnaud signing in Anaheim. I know you hate that in Atlanta, but I
I
like
I
that.
I
Good.
think it was the right time to move on from Travis d'Arnaud.
Okay.
The Braves' best positional player prospect is a catcher.
Yeah.
So, as a note.
Yeah. Well, but I think bringing him over to Anaheim, first of all, you go back to Ron Washington, right, which is huge. But the other thing that I think is super valuable in this case is you end up having a situation where you have Travis d'Arnaud who can still catch, saying to Logan O'Hoppe, if you start out batting a buck 35, dude, you're gonna be riding the pine. I'm gonna take your job from you. And Travis d'Arnaud could still do that. And it's not like you have a backup catcher that can't do anything. This guy's been an all-star. So
World Series
anyways,
champion. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a guys like that are valuable. I think baseball is probably the most underrated mentoring sport where
Yeah.
veterans matter a lot.
Yeah. So, okay, again, we're gonna wrap up here in about 10 minutes, but I can't stress enough, as a small business, we love our corporate sponsors. We want to thank Ruby's again in Laguna Beach. We want to thank Gravity Red Productions, our guys that do our filming for us, and we want to give much love to the pizza store by OC Local. Again, we have two more that are in the process of signing contracts. You'll hear more about them. Plus, we are going to be um, looking at other venues. Now, if you're interested in being a corporate sponsor with Top Fan Rivalry, reach out to us at info@topfanrivalry.com. Send us a message and or send us a message on our social medias. Oftentimes what we like to do is we like to get a couple of corporate sponsors in a city, and then we go get 100 t-shirts printed out and we drop them in that city, walking billboards for you, in addition to, a little something something here and there. So that being said, we will be mentioning them all throughout next week. Jackson, it's time. We've got less than 10 minutes left. It's time for the honorable mention segment. Hook it up, Jackson. Give me all of your honorable mentions. I've only got one, so give me
All
all of your
right.
honorable mentions.
I got three.
Go.
Tommy Pham to Kansas City.
Okay.
Uh, the Royals, I'm sure, will utilize him, and he'll be a really nice, again, veteran pieces for a young team. Really like that move. We talked about the Houston Astros. They will be the first team to get their second City Connect jersey next year.
Mhm.
Um, please, 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 MLB, bring back the orange red. Please do it for the Astros jersey, the old school back when they were in the National League. That's their best jersey. other than the white with the stripes,
Yeah.
the classic.
Other than
And
the
then
rainbow one, yeah.
my third one is farewell to umpire Pat Hoberg, who got fired after letting his friend use his sports gambling account to gamble on baseball. For those of you who don't know, Pat Hoberg was one of the best umpires in the MLB. Unfortunately, after an MLB investigation, they had to let him go for violating the league's policy on gambling. So there you have it, folks. They do hold umpires accountable.
Yeah, I listen. At the MLB network, at the bottom, you have the FanDuel thing. Listen, we're gonna get into gambling here. We're gonna get into gambling. If we're not gonna get into gambling, we're not gonna get into gambling. But oh, for the love of everything decent and holy, like have it go one direction and keep it that way. So
Yeah,
anyway,
the problem is his friend used his account to gamble on games he was umpiring.
oh, there's a problem. That's you're out.
Just a little bit of the problem. So
Yeah, you're
Pat
out.
Oberg, you were awesome. You called a perfect game in the World Series, or like was one call away from it being 100% accurate, which never happens. Uh, you will be missed, but them's the rules.
That was the rule. That was the rules. Those are good. Those are good honorable mentions. My only honorable mention that I have is the Red Sox looking to do something different. And that is there is some massive chatter about Orange County's own Nolan Arenado getting traded over to the Red Sox. But then what do you do to Rafi Devers? You had mentioned this early on in why the Red Sox might make a trade, because Rafi is going to go over and play first base. So imagine those corners with that short porch of left field, although you got the wall. Imagine those corners. It's not a Goldschmidt Arenado corner, but it's definitely an Arenado Devers corners. And I like that. I like that. I think that that's going to play well in the dog days of summer if the Red Sox can pull this thing off.
Yeah, I think the biggest obstacle to that is they have a lot of guys slated for that designated hitter spot.
Yeah,
You move Devers to first base unless you trade Casas for Arenado, which I wouldn't do, personally. But you need to free up the first base slot, which means you have to free up the DH slot, which is held by Masataka Yoshida right now, who has been kind of eh. He hasn't been the greatest defender in the major leagues. He was never the best defender in Japan. The problem is they were sticking him in left field with the Green Monster, which is a horrible place for someone trying to adjust to playing left field in the MLB playing. So his defensive metrics stunk, uh, obviously, because the Green Monster is really hard to play off of. So it'll be really interesting to see if a deal like that materializes, who they're going to move. Do they maybe eat some of the money on Yoshida and move him out uh, to the Cardinals? Or do another team? Do they get another team involved to send prospects around? Do the Red Sox use their own prospects to get Arenado? They eat all the money. It, you know, a week before spring training, pitchers and catchers report. There's still plenty to think about. Uh, they probably have another 2 weeks to get this deal done before position players start reporting.
yeah,
I wouldn't wait any longer than that.
yeah, yeah. Um, here's yeah. I get it done. Get it done. If you're the Red Sox, you need again. You're going to Yankees. The Yankees have a great depth chart. They've got the hitting to match. I mean, Toronto's only gotten better, although I do predict that Vladimir gets traded at the trade deadline. I think he's going to go to Anaheim. I think he's going to follow in his daddy's footsteps, going from Canada to Anaheim. But by the way, Jackson, I felt old the other day on on uh, on the phone with somebody, and they said, and I accidentally said California Angels. I was reading an article about Rod Carew, and they said California. I said California Angels, and they said who? And I said, oh, yeah, you didn't know that, did you? And it reminded me of
Hey, look, I remember the when MLB teams had sleeveless jerseys and they wore the undershirts, man.
yeah, 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 yeah. I actually lived Jackson. You didn't, but I actually lived. I won't mention the team, but Chicago White Sox. When they had collared shirts and shorty shorts instead of pants, instead of baseball pants, it was not a good look.
Looking
Early
like
80s, it was not a good
the,
look.
the the local rec league softball team.
Yeah, it was not a good look. It was not awesome. Jackson, we were missed if we didn't mention this. I know it's Friday the 7th, but had we recorded this on the 6th, we could have said happy 130th birthday to George Herman Ruth. Yes, George Herman Ruth. Babe Ruth turned 130 if he was still living. Um, you know, he shares the same birthday with a U.S. president. Jackson, do you want to try to guess who that U.S. president is? You were alive for
Bush.
him? No, maybe you weren't. I don't know. No, you weren't. Close, though.
Don't know then.
The the Gipper, Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Ah,
He shares a birthday with Ronnie Reagan. So,
well, for your other fun fact, it was also Hank Aaron's birthday this week.
oh, there you
So,
go. See, there you go. It's all the same. It's all the same, right?
so if you want your kid to be good at baseball, have them be bored uh, in the first week of February, is what I'm hearing.
I'll be here till I'll be here till Wednesday, 10th of winter, right?
Yeah.
Well, everybody, first of all, that's Jackson. I'm Bill. Let's wrap up by saying this. Number one, we did a great job today. I thought Jackson's 1 through 5 was amazing. We vented a little bit about the schedule. I thought that was awesome. You need to head over to topfanrivalry.com. First of all, you need to head over there. There's walk-up songs. Jackson, I don't have you done your walk-up song bracket yet?
I have not.
Okay, well, we need to get you on that bracket. So walk-up song brackets are up there. There's 32 teams. You want to go, you can do that for free on topfanrivalry.com. There's a bunch of fun stuff. We're doing an event at Ruby's on the 21st. Go check that out. But if you're going to spend any money, you want to buy some gear, you want to even get a collectible. We got Rick Monday autograph picture of him saving the flag and all kinds of other collectibles, baseball cards and things like that. You don't pay full price. What code do you use?
Use code Jackson, get 10% off. All you people up here in the Northeast, snag yourself a hoodie. It is freezing. It's going to stay cold for the next 2 weeks. Get yourself a hoodie so you can bundle up,
Yeah.
watch some spring training in a couple of weeks, and pretend you're in Florida.
Feel the love. Feel the love. There you go. There you go. Now everybody, just if you're curious, next week is going to be an absolutely amazing week for Top Fan. We have a full week of Galentine. On Monday, we have Ashley with the American League on the podcast. She does a show every week with us called American League with Ashley. Tuesday, we're going to have a group of National League West lady fans. I think, Jackson, we have 5 or 6 booked. On Wednesday, we have a group of American League, or I'm sorry, National League Central fans. I think we've got 3 booked. On Thursday, we have Unraveling Baseball, where we talk about the Red Sox, and we have Leslie on their book with Mike and I. And then on Friday, we have, I think, 4 ladies for the National League East. And one of those ladies is actually in London. She's across the pond. So make sure you're
Ooh,
checking everything out. We're going to have a great time this next week, Jackson.
yeah. Yep. Just remember to buy chocolate.
There you go. Buy chocolate. It's Jackson. All right,
Look, look,
everybody. We
look.
appreciate
The only holiday I am in favor of corporatizing is Valentine's Day because who doesn't want free chocolate?
There you go. All right, Jackson. Great to have you again. Thank you so much. I love doing the weekly reviews. Those over at Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, thank you for having us on. Check out the locker room. This will be in the locker room today as well on YouTube. Appreciate you, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.
You too.